Hey, friends. Welcome to the Self Love Strong podcast. I'm super excited you guys are here because we have a very special guest. Today, we have an incredible guest, Eric Murff. With over 2 decades in the fitness industry, Eric has dedicated his life to helping individuals reclaim their health, redefine their limits, and become leaders that they were meant to be. His journey of transformation from struggling with fatigue, weight gain, and anxiety to discovering the power of nutrition, mindset, and fitness has inspired countless people to take control of their health and their lives. Eric is the founder of D.O.R Fitness, Discipline Over Regret, and has worked with every level in the fitness industry, from trainer to gym owner. He's here today to share his insights on leadership, wellness, and personal growth, especially for men looking to lead their family, businesses, and communities with strength and clarity. Eric, welcome to the podcast. I'm super excited you're here.
Oh man, I'm so glad to be here. Thank you, Sam. I'm so glad to be here.
Man, I got to be honest. When you said yes, I was super excited for this because just the knowledge you bring and the experience. But so we're going to start this thing up right here. We're going to say, can you share that pivotal moment that led you to transform your own health and mindset? What was that moment where you're like, you know what? I need to start taking my health and mindset seriously.
It's a great story, actually. It's pretty funny. I'm a father of 3 kids, and I've been in the fitness industry, as you said, for a long time. And I've always felt like when you're around someone that you love or you're used to being around, you start to lazily see them a certain way. You don't see them gaining weight, or you don't see them becoming unhealthy because you love them. So my pivotal moment, I'm 34 years old at the time, so I'm 47 now. So it was about 13 years ago, and I was in my shower. TMI. I was taking a shower, and the way my bathroom was set up is that when you come out of the shower, it's right in front of the mirror. However, because I take a hot shower, I would never really see the mirror because it would be fogged up. Well, this particular day, my daughter, she's 16 now, but at the time she was 3. She was walking around the house and she opened my bathroom door. So hence I didn't get the steam up. So I got out that shower, and I took a look at myself, and I literally had an epiphany. And I said to myself, holy cow, what is going on with you, Eric? Why are you looking like this? And why isn't anyone saying anything? So in that moment, I don't know, I had a conversation with myself, Sam. I looked in that mirror and I said, this is the day. This is it. I will never, ever, ever go back from this day. I need to create discipline. I need to be able to get to where I want to be. And at the time, I was general manager of a particular fitness corporation, so franchising corporation. So I actually had just hired a trainer who was 18 years old. He was really just fresh and raw, very excited. And I came to work the next day and I sat him down in my office and I said, all right, here's what we're going to do. You're going to train me for 30 days. You're going to help me get back on track, and I'm going to help you become the greatest trainer because I'm going to critique you with your hands-on experience and my hands-on experience together. And subsequently, I went on ahead and had him train me for 4 years because I realized that as a trainer, the trainer needs a trainer. We all need a trainer. I think in life, and I'm sure you understand, I just wasn't holding myself accountable. I knew what accountability was. As a matter of fact, I was holding other people accountable, but I was starting to question why people were listening to me. I didn't look the part. I didn't feel the part, at least to myself. Maybe to them I did, but I wasn't comfortable with who I was and what I was presenting. So I had to analyze what was going on. So that was really my shift. That was it. And about 13 years ago, I've never looked back. I have never looked back, and I will never look back.
Man, I really love that. I love that story because, maybe somebody's sitting here at that pivotal moment in their life. They looked at themselves. I'm just not happy with what I see. And I love how you talked about, really that is the moment right there that you can make that choice. I love how you looked at yourself and you just what I didn't want. I think many times people wake up, they see themselves, it's like, I'm stuck here. I can't change. But I love how you just went ahead and say like, hey, I'm going to do the work. But something so powerful there is, as many times as trainers, we feel like we know everything, but we still realize the power of, we know we need that help, But I love how you said that everybody needs a trainer. Like, I agree. I have a trainer myself that I needed that accountability because when it's your job, it starts to changes. Like fitness for me was the joy. Like that was what I love it. When it became my job, there was a nice shift there. But I love how you said, we all need coaches.
Yeah, I think for a long time, Sam, I allowed my ego to dictate my decision making, and I think most of us as men do that. I'm a firm believer that all of us as men, we're born leaders. We are meant to lead, and a lot of times we don't embrace that. Our circumstances may not allow that.
Yeah.
I've always been in a leadership role in my life, and I think in those moments, in that particular moment that day,
Yeah.
I was disappointed in myself as a leader because I knew people were counting on me, and my representation of the information I was giving was not the truth. Because although I knew the
Mm.
information and I told the information, I did not live the information. So I was good enough at sales to sell the story, but I wasn't living the story, which is why that I wasn't sustaining the growth. And I didn't understand that
Mm.
those things correlated until I finally made the decision to hold myself accountable. And my accountability came with getting that coach. And so the beautiful thing is that moving forward in my life now, 13 years later, things happen in life. I got divorced, um, and then met this other person in my life, and her and I are knee deep into this, fitness world together. And you find this ability that although I don't have the same coach that I had originally, I have a partner in coach, and that's what we call each other when it comes to us challenging each other. Is we have partners in coach because we're partners in life, we're partners in business, but we're partners in health. So we're partners in coach, and she coaches me, and I coach her, and that's an anomaly. I know that everyone doesn't have that, but it was the first stepping stone of me committing myself to what I was getting everyone else to commit to me. I had to commit to someone else, and once I made that investment into my health, it was the game changer in me understanding that my power was bigger than what I even realized. And then once I dropped my ego, it was a game changer for me.
Man, I love that. I really love that, man. That's so awesome. I love how you're talking about this, that accountability. When you have that person, it's so powerful when you have somebody that you can lean on. Because, like you said, even though we're all busy, we can all be realistic. We all find ourselves busy. There's always something to do. But when you can find that commitment to your health, and like you said, even more so, invest in you, I think that's the greatest form of self-love, is really willing to invest in yourself. Many times we invest in so many other things, but when you make yourself a priority, like you said, is that really that big shift really happens in your life?
Yeah, you sometimes, I mean, you get, and I don't know if this has ever happened to you or some of the people, watching this, but you don't know you're not holding yourself accountable until you get into a situation where accountability is at the forefront of the decision making. And then when you make the tough decision, you learn a lot about yourself. Now, some people run away from that because they're scared of it. Uh, but why my focus is men more than women, and I train women. I have women. I love women. I train them. I don't turn away. But my focus is men because as men, we're counted on to be the provider, the protector, and to give the provision. And what I've learned about the men that have crossed my path in my life is the ones that I have gravitated towards the most are the ones that quietly always gave protection, provision, and provided. And providing doesn't necessarily mean monetarily. That's a huge part of it. But providing is your action. We learn by what we see. So if I'm telling someone but I'm not doing what I'm telling, it will never hold water. So that's, and I'll transition that for you. And that's how I came up with the name Discipline Over Regret, because what was my biggest struggle? Accountability is discipline. And I could not give myself the accountability until I learned that it was correlated to the discipline that I lacked. So once I understood where I lacked, I was able to be more accountable to myself, and that created my discipline.
Dang, that is awesome, man. I love that. I really love that. So, what were some of the biggest, mental or physical hurdles you had to overcome during that transition when you're like, you know what, now I'm making myself a priority. I'm kind of getting myself back on track. Those mental hurdles you had to kind of overcome. I know you mentioned your ego. I came over that ego.
Yeah, so I think with most of us, Sam, it is the personal aspect first. So it was my ego. I had to drop it. I had to let it go. I had to become one with consciousness. I had to open myself up to what God has put out here for me and stop trying to control everything, but allow my actions to control my outcomes. And I think that
Ooh.
when you are wishing for outcomes, but you're not actionable, the outcomes are what they are. And then we question them. And that becomes the regret because then you understand that I didn't have the discipline. So now I'm regretting my decision making. So again, it goes back to the transition. My obstacles were the ego. Now, once that was gone, then I had to learn that now here's the kicker. This is the best part. Here's the nugget for everyone watching. We all already have the discipline. We just don't know how to transfer it to the thing that we're not disciplined in. So we go to work every day. That's discipline. We eat every day. That's discipline. We brush our teeth every day. That's discipline. I put my seatbelt on. That's discipline. I pay my bills. That's discipline. But I wasn't transitioning the discipline to the actionable things that would get me the outcomes that I was actually looking for. So now I'm going back to what everyone else is doing, which is hoping and wishing. Well, if I eat right for a few days, I should be good. Well, if I work out for a few days, I should be good. If I get a good sleep for a few days, I should be good. Hey, I didn't drink for a few days, I should be good. Those are not discipline. That is making some strides in the right direction. That's me making some better decisions. But I'm not sustainable because I'm not disciplined in the decision. I'm just doing something hoping I'm going to get it. I'm playing the lottery. Now people win the lottery, but that's the exception, not the rule. And so once the rule becomes what is necessary and we recognize it, goes back to acceptance, it goes back to awareness, it goes back listen, your podcast is what it is. It's self-love. That's what discipline is. And once we know that we're giving ourselves love, it's easy to see the results because you no longer focus on the results. You just trust the process. The outcomes are what they are. There's
Man,
nothing
that
around.
is
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
no, no, no. You're good. I'm sorry. I was just, man. It's so good.
And thank you. I listen. I'm human. You're human. We're all human here. We're gonna make mistakes. You're gonna fall off. The name of the company is the name of our life. It's discipline over regret. Do I regret the discipline I could have given myself, or do I give myself the discipline and let the outcomes fall where they may? The reality is nothing is perfect. We practice to get better. So I'm never going to have perfect abs. There's no such thing because what's perfect to you may not be perfect to me. But what I can be is striving to be better every day. Discipline, discipline over regret, discipline. And that's really all it is. And I think that some people stray away from the word. Discipline can be a negative thing. You're giving your kids discipline. Teachers give kids discipline. Now, I remember my dad using that word discipline with a belt. That was discipline. And that was what I associated that with. You go to the military, they get in your face and it's discipline. But discipline doesn't have to have a negative connotation. I think discipline is just a part of our life. Once it's a staple in what you do every day, the outcomes become what they're supposed to be.
Yeah, so true. So powerful, man. I love that analogy for discipline because I think many times people, like you said, we all have discipline and we're just not using it in the right direction. Like, we're like you said, we're dreaming, hoping, because like you said, we're all disciplined. We're showing up to our jobs. That because I think many times maybe somebody's sitting here, you probably like I've heard it many times, they're just not disciplined enough to do it. So they write
Yeah.
themselves off and they call that the end all be all. But I love you're like you're disciplined, just you're disciplined in the wrong direction. And I love the power that you can change that. Like you said, like I can show up each day and start in the right direction of where my goals are, or my actions align with what I'm really looking to achieve. Man, it's so awesome.
Yeah, and I try to explain it in such a simplistic way because I think we're in the era of information. I call this the era of information because we have access to so much information. Yet there's so much information that people are overwhelmed with what information they should research. Is this information true? Who do I follow? Who do I not follow? You and I are in the same industry. There's a million trainers in the world. There I can go on
Yeah.
social media and type in trainer and I don't know which one I should choose. But here's what I know. I know that if the message is true, if the message is based by faith, if the message is consistent, if the person giving the message is living the message, then that's all you can do. You put it out there, the people will find you that need you and they will follow the right people. And unfortunately, some people will follow the wrong people. But I also think that's part of their journey too. In order for them to get to the right person, they may have to follow the wrong person first. And that's okay. And we have to be okay with whatever the journey is that takes us to the direction that we need to get to. Because listen, our destination, whatever that is for each person, that's the end game. But how to reach that destination, there's many different pathways.
Yeah.
So we put so much onus on the result that if we take away what the onus on the result is and just put it into the process, into loving what you're learning. When I'm sore now versus when I was in and let me take a step back here. I was an athlete in high school and college. So working out was never the issue. Accountability was the issue because when I was in high school and college, I had a coach. I didn't recognize that I, the coach, needed a coach. So
Mm.
once that became important and a staple, then I was able to do what I was telling everyone else to do, which is learn to love what I'm doing, not what I'm getting from it. If I have to give my children everything that I give them just so that they love me, and all I care about is them loving me, it's never going to work. Inevitably, they're going to love me because what I'm giving them is going to make them better. And once they recognize that this is making them better, they're going to love me more. And they're going to then love their children more. So I don't need to worry if my children are going to love me. I don't need to worry if I'm going to lose 10 pounds. I don't need to worry if I'm going to feel better. Those are inevitable. I just need to worry about being dedicated, motivated, and consistent to love the process. And then once the process is loved, the outcomes just become what they are. And you become what the outcomes are.
Man, yes, yes, yes. I couldn't agree anymore. I love that because I think many times, like you said, we're always focused on the system and find going in the right direction. But I love, like you said, is just knowing the direction you want to go and trusting. Like you said, there's no. I wish we all knew the one path that would lead us to that destination, but there's always going to be those twists and turns. But it's continually, like you said, being dedicated, motivated, and consistent in the right direction. It's really the end game. Like, not everybody's path is going to look the same.
That's right.
But longer, like you said, you're dedicated, and man, that I love that. It's so true. Um, why do you believe it's essential for men or just anybody to prioritize their health in order to be effective leaders in their community and in their families?
Um, it's a great question. So prioritizing the health, our health is everything that we have. I think we have this misconception as humans that we're superhuman all the time. Now, I do believe that we are superhuman inside of us. I believe that wholeheartedly. But I believe that that comes
Yeah.
with the knowledge of how to tap into the superhuman power. The only way you can do that is to be healthy. Now, what health looks like to everyone is a little bit different because we're caught up in a system of where we live, which doesn't necessarily, well, let's call it what it really is. It's not designed to actually make us healthy. However, The information for us to be healthy is in front of us. It's just a matter of us prioritizing what information we allow to control our decision making. So health has to be the priority simply because when you feel better, you do better. If you are fighting the way you feel every day, over time, you will not be able to make the right decisions as a leader because your emotions, based on how you feel, will take over what you do because it will be predicated on how that decision made you feel. So, especially as men, we're not bred that way. We're not built that way. We're built to come up with solutions. And the solution is what it is. No matter how I feel about the solution, I have to make the decision based on what the outcome solution should be, not what I think it should be, not how it's going to make me feel. So if I'm healthy, inevitably, and again, let's take health as a broad word because you and I, as fitness industry leaders, we understand what health really is supposed to mean. But the person that just went to the doctor's office today has a different understanding of what health is going to mean to them. So we've got to normalize what real health is. Real food, exercising correctly, proper nutrients, proper recovery. And once we're all on the same page with that, we can then understand what being healthy will do to us outside of the world of what it takes to be healthy. So to answer your question, I'm bringing that full circle, okay? If we prioritize how our health looks every day, what will happen is everything else around us will fall into the place it's supposed to. Because the food pyramid, we'll call it now the health pyramid. If we take, and this is my pyramid, this is the Murff pyramid, okay? The Murff pyramid is God. That is the creator is here. The creator gave us the ability to have knowledge. And in that knowledge, I want my health, I want my wealth, and I want my prosperity to all be together. And when that happens, I get to then provide that to my tree. And then my tree takes my knowledge and creates their knowledge. And they give it to their tree. And then we have this entire forest of trees that are doing the same things in our own individual way, but in such a way that allows us to prosper together that we don't have to worry about the things that people worry about today. For example, is my blood pressure okay? Is my blood sugar okay? Hey, you know what? I can't walk that fast because I can't breathe. I can't bend over and tie my shoe because it doesn't feel good. So inevitably, when we make health the priority, all the minute things that we're dealing with on a day-to-day basis now go away. And now we can start opening ourselves up to create the next level of growth that we're supposed to have. So hopefully I didn't go on too long of a tangent, but that makes sense to people when they hear that.
I love that. I really love the emphasis of, like you said, it's so true. Like we have so much media, so many things, everybody telling you what's good for you. But like you said, it's right in front of us. I think we overcomplicate what needs to be done, and we underappreciate the simple thing: eating the food, making that daily movement, and doing things the right way. And like you said, most importantly, asking for that coach and finding some help along the way as well. But I really love that emphasis on just realizing that we have that power to make better choices. I think many times, like you said, your priority, your goals, like you really talked about, like your pyramid. But I think when everybody's looking at their goals, are the actions aligned with your end result? And I love that. So what are some mistakes you think people make when trying to eat healthy or get healthy? And what can some things that they should avoid? Like, because we're trying to eat healthy, healthier foods.
So I think number one, the biggest mistake, Sam, and I'm sure you see this with people that you work with, is people are looking for hacks instead of changing habits. We're looking for the quickest way that we could fix the long problem that we've created over the long period of time instead of changing the habits that will create long-term effects. So everything is quick. And that goes into how society
Yes.
is put together. Society is put together that way. You go on TikTok, and this is not enough. I love TikTok. I think TikTok utilization can be great.
Yeah.
However, what
Yeah.
TikTok has created is this inability to look at things past 35 seconds. So now, if I can't figure it out,
Mm.
I don't want to figure it out at all. And it's too difficult for me. So I think the number one issue that people have is trying to find a hack, a quick solution to a long term problem. And there is no quick solution. And I think acceptance is the key to success. So once you accept where you are and accept the steps that you have to take to get there, everything else will fall into place. Everything. And so, what a transition, Sam, because here's the simple thing there is no diet that can change the habits that have created bad health. You can temporarily do a diet,
Mm.
you can temporarily get some changes. The question becomes is how do you transition whatever it is you're doing temporarily to become a lifestyle? And so hacks can't be lifestyle because they're hacks. So how do we prioritize changes in a way that can be transitioned to do something you can do every single day? And that's what I teach. Literally that is what I teach.
Man, yes. That is beautiful. I mean, I couldn't agree more because you're you're so right. Quick, I can just pop it in and it's gonna work easily. I love how you know we're trying to get a hack for a habit that we've had maybe for 10 or 12 years. We're looking for that quick results. And like you said, we have that easy bake oven results that people are looking for. And really when it comes
That
to
I'm
real change, it's not gonna happen overnight.
right. That's right. And, I'll give you a good example, and I'm sure you've seen some clients like this, but I have a few clients of mine currently right now who took a huge step in their past to have gastric bypass surgery. Now that was a fad. A lot of people were, oh man, we can get on this. I can shrink my stomach. And for some people, yes, it works. It definitely can work for some people. But what I've learned, my experience with people is the issue that created the problem in the beginning was never solved. So you did something to solve being overweight, but you didn't solve why you were overweight.
Yeah.
So the reason people fail moving forward after the surgery for so long is because you never changed who you were to become who you are. So in order to do the things that we need sustainably, we've got to find why we are where we were and then correct it and understand that the correction we're making is long-term sustainable success.
Man, I love that. Because and part of things to see, as seeing it was a sad situation. Someone who got that bypass surgery, but like you said, they really never fixed the habit that got them there. So it was sad because you see them lose all this weight and then gain it all back, and then they're wondering, the first thing you'll do is you'll blame the surgery, right? You'll be like, well, the surgery did wasn't successful, but like you said, we didn't fix the habit that got you there.
That's it, man. And I think again it goes back to something I said earlier. It's acceptance. I think the other part is we beat ourselves up. So now I'm giving people this hard line truth that your habits are bad and that you never fixed it. Well, it goes back to emotion. When your health is out of place, your emotions are out of place. So now people blame themselves. And so they're so caught up now in the emotion of anger that they've just figured out that they've done something wrong that they can't get out of the rabbit hole of the rut of the thought
Yeah.
process. And so again, it goes back to acceptance. Let's move on. Okay, you accept it. Accept that we made a bad decision and now we move on. Your bad decisions don't have to define your future decisions. They don't have to. You can still be great in who you are. You can be great at 18 and you can be great at 88. It doesn't matter. You've just been told that your thought process is limited. Once you accept the fact that you are unlimited in who you are, who you become, and what you think, then you can be the person that you've always wanted. Now you created discipline over regret. Now you are the superstar, the superhero that everyone needs you to be, that everyone has expected you to be, and that everyone can count on you to be.
Man, I love that. I love that. So that's so powerful, like you said. I think many times we give our power away by limiting ourselves. Like you said, I think that's such a powerful statement in itself because, somebody maybe they're like, I failed and failed. So you're going to tell me another program is going to work. But really, it's really coming down to, like you said, having that discipline over having that regret of those past failures, but realizing that I am unlimited when it comes to my potential. And that if I have that discipline and that consistency, that's where that real results come from. But you have to foundation like you're talking about.
Yeah, you do, and I think when you get through that process, Sam, the reason that we've seen so much success recently, at least in my business, is because that realization is the thing that we focus on. So let's let's get to this mindset that we need to be in so that we can create the long-term sustainable habits that will allow us to never look backwards and regret what we didn't do. You know, I use an analogy with people a lot, Sam. It's a car analogy, and I heard this from someone else. So it's not my analogy, but I put my little spin on it. But as humans, it's very simple and it's very easy to beat yourself up. It's easy when things don't go right to just stay down on yourself. So the analogy I use is when we get in our vehicle, you have your rear view mirror and you have your windshield. And if you really think about it, the rear view mirror is the smallest window mirror in the car. And the windshield is the largest. And why is that? Well, that's because your past is just designed for you to turn around, look to see how far you've come, pat yourself on the back for what you did right, right your wrongs, figure it out, and move forward. And the windshield is so big because your future is always brighter than your past. We can't get back to time, but we can gain more time by making better decisions. So as long as we're looking forward and we're driving our vehicle forward and not backwards, we always have the ability to become who we want to become. We just have to accept where we are in order to get to where we want to be. And that is where discipline over regret comes in.
Man, that is so awesome, man. I really love just the mission behind discipline over what you're doing there. So, how do you help your clients shift from quick fixes and embracing that long sustainable? I know you were talking about that mindset of just really having that consistency when it comes to your program, when it comes to that discipline over regret.
So I think the first thing that we have done with people is we prioritize nutrition first. You know, most training companies, most trainers will prioritize fitness first. I think that in life, everything is fitness. If I stand up from this chair, that's fitness. If I go to the bathroom, that's mobility. So we do that every single day. But that's simplistic and that's unconscionable. We don't think about it because we do it until it's taken from you, right? But nutrition is the key. So what we've done is we've put together a program that challenges people to remove the blockages that are preventing them from being who they want to be. And what that block is ultimately is toxin. It's just toxicity. And I say just toxicity, but they're everywhere. They're in everything. And so what is the number one toxicity that we put in our body?
Yeah.
Sugar. Sugar. And there's such a bad rap on sugar. It's such a bad rap because, I eat sugar every day. I'm sure you eat sugar every day, but it's the type of sugar I eat. I eat
Yeah.
fruit. I get a lot of sugar from fruit, but it's the type of sugar we're supposed to eat. So the biggest thing is getting people to commit to their nutrition, and we do that in a way to give people hope. The hope is that in 31 days, if we could remove the majority of the toxicities that have been sitting in your body for years and years and years, and clear your body and your mind so that you can see where you really are, now the shift changes, because now you can feel what you've been wanting. You can see what you've been wanting. You can think what you've been wanting and not be blocked by chemicals, toxicities, and impropriety thoughts that are dictated by the chemicals and the toxicities that are inside of your body. But we don't understand it because we live in a system that tells us when we don't feel good to go to the doctor. And then we put this trust in our doctor. No disrespect to doctors that are listening. We love doctors. We love doctors. But our system is designed to treat the problem, not fix the problem. And as a matter of fact, I haven't met a doctor who's fixed the problem. I've met surgeons who fix bones, but I've never met a general practitioner who fixes a problem. They just treat it. And that's not their fault. They're taught that way. So this isn't a knock on doctors. We need doctors.
Yeah.
But the problem is we live in this society where if my nose is sniffling, I go treat it. I don't find out why my nose is sniffling or what I actually did to feel that way. I just treat the problem. I'm treating the result of what the problem is. I'm treating, AKA the symptoms. Well, symptoms are based on something else. And until we find out the something else, we're just always dealing with the symptoms. But we think the symptoms are the problem. The symptoms aren't the problems. They're the result of the problem.
Yes, I really love that process. I really love how y'all dive deep into really reframing nutrition. I think, like you said, I mean, you can't outwork a bad diet. I think that's one of the, when I heard that quote, I don't know if I heard that one, but I was like, man, if you're not putting the right fuel in, you're not going to get the right results, right? How you're really focusing on, detoxing the body with natural foods, getting us back to the great things God has already provided for us, really coming back to those basics and, really clearing our system. Like you said, it is unfortunate that, we really have to start, just because it's food doesn't mean it's the right food. I wish you could go to the grocery store and be like, this is going to be good for you. But a lot of things, unfortunately, have to. So like you said, being mindful, one of those powerful success stories from one of your clients. I mean,
oh yeah, absolutely. Oh man. So I have a client of mine. I'll leave his name out of it. I'll just tell the story. So a couple of years ago, broke up with his girlfriend. I'm sure very typical for a lot of guys. Broke up with his girlfriend. He thought she was the one. He wanted to marry her. She was getting herself together, and he wasn't moving as fast as she was. And she decided that the grass was going to be greener. And so, in his vulnerability, he just let himself go. And so, when he started training with me, and this was actually someone that came back to me. So he had lost weight in the past, got the girlfriend, thought he was going to get the wife, stopped taking care of himself, loses it all, comes on back. So this time though, we said, okay, well we've got to prioritize more than just your fitness. Well, that was a struggle. He wouldn't do it. He wouldn't do it. So as the leader, as the trainer, I finally, about 8 months in, he did get some great results in 8 months, but I basically told him that if he does not change his eating, I will not train him. So that was my accountability to him, is that these two things go hand in hand. And you're a walking billboard for me. So every time someone asks you what you're doing, you're going to say, I'm training with Eric Murff. And then when you gain this weight back, you know what they're going to say? They're going to say, Eric Murph's not a good trainer because you can't sustain. And he would laugh at it. And I said, but listen, the real reality is that if you don't prioritize your health over the way you look will never, ever become what you want. And you're just getting results because you went from doing nothing to doing something. And eventually it's going to catch up. So I got him to commit. The first book that I wrote was a 44-day detox. And he did it for 44 days. And so it's no sugar, no dairy. And what that basically means, and we'll talk a little bit about that as far as the 31-day detox. But what it basically means is we're taking out processed sugars, and we're taking out the foods that are broken down as sugars. So your white bread, your wheat bread, your white rice, your brown rice, your white potatoes, all of the things that we eat as a staple, we've been told our entire life is okay to eat. And sure, they could be in moderation, they could be, but here's the reality of it: they're not helping you. So we need to cut them out, and we need your body to get a reset. And once your body gets a reset, it's a game changer. So long story short, the gentleman, the client, he committed 44 days, and in 44 days he lost 23 pounds. Now, what did the 23 pounds do? And people are like, 23 pounds. Now, he was already working out, but he couldn't get that. He couldn't get over the hump. The reason he couldn't get over the hump is because he ate like that. And once his body, we call it regurgitation mode. There was no supplements that he took. There was no extra vitamins. He literally ate foods that he was supposed to eat. Fruits, vegetables, nuts, seeds, lean meat. That's it. He ate carbs every day. People say, well, he just cut out his carbs. Absolutely not. Fruits and vegetables are carbs. We ate carbs every day. He ate sweet potatoes every day, quinoa. He ate carbs every day. Beans, legumes. He ate every day. And what he learned what everyone else is learning when they do these wonderful detoxes, is that they learn to have a new relationship with food. Because the food that you're supposed to love will love you back if you allow it to love you back. And the foods that we love never love us back. So once he removed the foods that wasn't loving him back, he was able to remove, we call it the devil foods. The food that really was masking love was really hurting him. He removed those hurts and he put in some wonderful love from God, and his body completely changed and his life changed. And now he's been in a sustainable 2-year relationship. He's found his soulmate. He is getting ready to have his first child. His business is thriving. He has sustained his weight loss. He's 36 years old and he's in the greatest shape of his life, and everything is changing. And if people go to my social media pages, they'll see his testimony is on there. His before and afters are on there. I have it all up there. But that is my biggest success story, because he not only was a client, he became a great friend and a great brother of mine. And subsequently, we've helped his actual brothers and his cousins and his sister and his mom have been taken off medications, have lost, between collectively their family, they've lost over 600 pounds in the last 2 years collectively. So that's been probably the biggest success story, and sustain it. Now, let me say this for the people that are listening. Let me say this out there. This family, I will say, is a Hispanic family. And I say this is very prevalent because we lean on something in multicultural groups, which is our culture as a word to lean on that keeps us unhealthy. And the Hispanic culture, this is the Mexican culture, they leaned on corn, masa, corn chips, tortillas, fried foods, high feed oil usage, a lot of rice. Once they understood that the way they were brought up doesn't have to be the way they live, and you can find ways to eat the things that you like healthfully, it was the game changer. Because the emotional connection we have to our culture is a very difficult one to get rid of. As a black man in our culture, food is very unhealthy. And the way my mother taught me how to cook and the way we ate at home was very unhealthy. And that was the food I loved growing up, of course. And it was the food I loved as a young adult because I didn't know any better. But once you know better, you have to do better. So what I did was I was able to take my mother's recipes and recreate them in ways that I can introduce my kids to the foods ethnically that I grew up in, but show them that there are better pathways to eating that food.
Wow. Man, that is powerful. Man, that is awesome. Man, I can't believe 600 pounds collectively, but it's such a powerful testament. Like you said, when you start to take responsibility and impact around you, when people start seeing you make those changes, it's possible for them too. The power of you taking care of yourself can change the whole trajectory of your family. I think That is awesome. How you made a book, like you said, we can go back to those things that we like, and we can still enjoy them, but we can pick them and make them in a nice new way, right? Than what society has told us it has to be.
Absolutely.
Eric,
Absolutely, Sam.
how can people work with you?
Oh, first of all, let's tap in,
So I know,
y'all.
like,
Let's
and everybody who's listening, how can people work with you?
Okay, first of all, pull out your pens, guys. Pull out your phones. I want you to go to my website. It is www.disciplineoverregret.com. One word spelled exactly how it sounds. Discipline over regret. Right now, we are doing and opening up to the public. It is free of charge. Our 31-day no sugar, no dairy detox. And along with that is 31 days of daily movement and mobility. This movement, we're calling it the Take Back Your Health movement for 2025. It has been unbelievable. When you join the movement, so you go to my website, you register. Once you register, you get a confirmation email. You confirm you're going to receive our 31-day ebook. You're going to receive our 31 simple, easy, and affordable recipes. Each recipe, my fiance and I, we have time tested them. We put them together. There's pictures with each recipe. There is all the nutritional facts, your proteins, your calories, your saturated fats, your carbs. Everything's on it. How to cook the food. Each recipe only has about 4 to 6 ingredients. It's all food that is affordable. You will not break the bank. It won't be these elaborate, crazy meals that you see on the Food Network. These are simple things that you can find in your local grocery store. You're going to get a tracking guide to track your progress, and you're going to get a daily calendar to see where you need to be every day. And that's all free. And all you got to do is go to my website, www.disciplineoverregret.com. Now, you can also follow me on YouTube, Discipline Over Regret. You can follow me on Instagram, Murff, M as in Mary, U-R, F as in Frank, .fitness, Murff, .fitness on Instagram, Eric Murff on Facebook, and Eric Murff Coaching on TikTok. So you can find me everywhere. I'm everywhere. You turn around, there's Eric Murff sitting there waiting on you. It's the Murff effect. This is what we want. We want to change your life. So please, please, and guys, most important, let me get up close when I say this. It's free. I don't want anything from you. I just want your success. That's all I want. I want your health. Your health is your wealth. We're not creating generational wealth. We're creating generational health. This is what we're on. We're changing the world one person at a time, because you can't live with that great money you're making if you're not healthy enough to enjoy it. So we're going to teach you how to be healthy enough to enjoy it so you can make it, thrive it, share it, give it to the world. We are changing the world. Take back your health. Our Facebook community is blowing up. People, oh my God, it's amazing. I cannot express how great this is. I cannot express. My excitement and my passion is through the roof right now, because we are here to change your life. And we're going to change your life. All you got to do is click that link, www.disciplineoverregret.com. That's it.
Man, that is awesome, you guys. But even better, I'm going to make it very simple for you. I'm going to put all of his links to all of his socials under this. Like his www. I'm going to have his Discipline Under Regret, his the links to his socials. Make sure you not only take a screenshot of this, sharing all the numbers that he did today, but make sure this isn't the last. Join that mission to getting that generational health. I think that's a great mission to get behind. Hey, join me, because I'm gonna have to jump in on that 31-day challenge. That's something I need to do myself. That's awesome. So I hope we can join that challenge together, friends. Let's get it. Let's start that the mission. We got to all get behind. That's what we can do for our families and relationships and our.
That's right.
Who would better in every area of your life?
That's right.
If there's one key message you wanted to give the listeners, that they left here today with, what would that one key message be?
Awesome, Sam. So let me give this little story, and I'm going to leave this with this. It's a quick story, and I want you guys to really pay attention now, okay? So our whole lives we're told that what happens in the dark will always come to light, and it's given in such a negative tone. But I want you guys to think of something here, okay? I want you to join this 31-day challenge, and it's going to be tough. And the things that you're going to go through, the cold shivers, the diarrhea, probably stomach pains, because you're going to be releasing these toxicities. You're going to do this behind closed doors. I'm going to tell you something. You're going to create the fruit system with your root system. See, when a tree is planted, it's planted in dirt. It's dark in the dirt. It has to establish its roots in the dirt. You don't see it. But what happens is that when the root system is set, it bursts through the ground and it grows. And it doesn't have a limit on where it can grow because it creates the fruit system for everyone to see. So what happens in the dark comes to the light. It doesn't have to be negative. So I'm telling you right now, you join this movement because what you do in the dark will show. And everyone that's watching you, everyone that needs you, everyone that loves you is going to be able to pick from your fruit system because your tree is going to grow as high as it can ever grow. And that is what I want to leave you with.
Man, that is powerful, man. Sharing that knowledge. Follow all those links. Follow him on all of his socials. Connect with him on that website and join that challenge. All right, you guys.